ladies and gentlemen of the internet. This is TokenFan22, and welcome to the first episode of Nerd Fights. I am your host as well as your judge, and today we have our contestants right here. First off, we got Mike from The Other Nerd. We also have Brian of Professor Common fame, as well as Eric the Wild Red Ranger, also known as Eric. Now then, in our first round, we're going to go with who is the best Powerpuff Girl and why. Let the arguments begin. Mike, you go first.
Okay. The best Powerpuff Girl is Bubbles. Think about her abilities, what she's shown off. She has the most real-world applications since she knows several languages and can speak to animals. She's the most kind-hearted one, so that you don't have to worry about her saying no to anything. And although that can be taken as being too nice, it's better than being too nice than to just act like one of the other ones who would just be overly cautious or just say flat out no, even if you're just asking her to say, hey, can you help me put up the dishes?
Okay, very, very valuable. Okay, now then, Brian, if you will, who's your favorite Powerpuff Girl?
I'd have to say Buttercup is the best one because, unlike the other two, she takes no crap from anybody. She is assertive, she knows what she wants, she has fun doing what she wants, and she's not willing to hide behind some false sense of smartness or niceness to get what she wants.
Okay. All right then. Eric, if you will.
Well, process of elimination. Awesome. And what can I say? I mean, she's a leader, she's the intelligent one. She, might be a bit of a perfectionist, but she gets the job done. And she's most mature out of all of them. I mean, she may have her flaws, but she's not going to be she's not going to be naive about anything or overly aggressive. So, yeah.
All right, everybody has made their arguments. Now we're going to go into the debate round, which is going to take probably about 5 minutes or so. So, all right, let the bloodbath begin.
First off, Buttercup doesn't need her sense of smarts as Blossom does, and neither is she naive as Bubbles.
Oh yeah, so naive, she just stands there saying, I ain't gonna get hit by no laser when the laser is meant to take away their powers.
Well, for one thing, she didn't know that it did that. The only one who saw that out was Blossom. That's only because she happened to see the label that said that. If not for that one little bit of luck,
yeah, but
none of them would have seen it.
Buttercup has that unique brand of naiveness to where she thinks she is completely and utterly invincible.
At least she's not a crybaby and a whiny little brat like Bubbles.
Until Bubbles gets pissed off, and then she turns into the most powerful one, because she's kicked both of their asses.
Oh, yes, because that's totally an achievement, being all angry rage.
Yeah, for real. I mean, any of them could probably do that right there, and even then...
Buttercup is always angry. Can't beat the other two on by her own.
Buttercup is at least the fastest of the three. She's aerodynamic.
All of them are shaped aerodynamically.
Yeah, all of them are about the same shape.
But Blossom has her bow and her long hair. Bubbles has her two
and
little twin tails.
that bow is also an explosive, so she's the only one trusted to handle a high explosive.
Buttercup has that short little cut hair that lets her just slide through the air so easily. You're weighed down by pigtails, she's weighed down by her long hair and her bow.
Giant explosive again.
Fastest.
Fastest. If you can actually give a feat, that would show her being fastest.
She raced her from the school to the house, and she was the first one there. And not, mind you, all three of them can fly pretty damn fast.
Did she leave before they did?
No, they left at the same time, and she beat them there. They went so fast, they went ahead in time to the future, and she still beat them there. So yeah, fastest. Also, she's the most assertive of the group. She doesn't have to hide behind anything that the other two do. She knows what she wants, she takes what she wants, and she does what she wants because she...
That sounds like she's going to be a criminal in 5 years.
And what is Blossom hiding behind? She's not hiding behind her smart. She is genuinely smart. She's one of the smartest people in Townsville.
It's also
Blossom is an over-accomplishing perfectionist. She gets upset if she gets an A when she wanted an A+ on a spelling test. And gets upset and depressed about it.
Her intelligence is a shield that she puts up when she's dealing with the choices that she does in life. And if that shield cracks, she falls to pieces.
There's other stuff you can rely on.
Okay, like what? You can't say powers because they all pretty much have the same powers.
That was some varying degrees. I mean, she actually had ice and heat breath at certain points.
All of them have unique powers, though.
Yeah, that was rendered moot later on in the series because they all tend to learn that same trick.
Fair enough, but she is not only the smartest, she also is the one that keeps Blossom and Bubbles together, even though at times they can be at each other's throats.
She can also be one of the most melodramatic of the three, seeing as how several times when
Melodramatic are all
in
little
a
kids.
conversation with other people, she tends to turn the conversation to where it's about her.
And she also has her own bouts of naivete and brashness that even she's not susceptible to. So no, she's not Little Miss Perfect.
Yeah, none of them are. And she really doesn't say she is sometimes.
She tries to tell that she has the moral high ground because she's the most mature one.
And she is. I mean, she's part of what, 3 sisters. Someone has to be mature there. I mean, look,
They're all mature.
You have
They're all mature in different ways. She just.
We
like,
have
in
Buttercup,
between
who's the
for
most
both.
aggressive and will probably punch something if it doesn't go her way. You have Bubbles, who is the little girl of the entire 3 who would just cry if something doesn't go her way or go into her little comfort zone with her stuffed octopus. And she's most mature and has to keep everyone together. She is the leader of the group.
Until she cracks down.
Exactly. Even she can only take so much before she ends up having to crack down, and she becomes immature or whiny or brash.
But she can take more than the other 2.
And so the thing is, though, is that like for Bubbles and Buttercup, that's who they are. She has to hide behind her intelligence and her maturity.
Well, she's the leader. I mean, with being a leader, you have to have a certain.
Heavy is the head that wears the crown.
Yes. I mean, we've seen it in many teams. Power Rangers as one of them. You have the team, you have the Red Ranger. Red Ranger is the leader. We've seen
Okay,
it.
well,
And time is up. All right. Well, y'all have made some very, very good points. And I have reached a decision. I'm going to have to give the point to Mike because he did make a lot of very, very valid points as well when it came to Bubbles. And also, I kind of have to agree with you about how, well, the way I see it, Bubbles is the most underestimated. Because not only has she received, well, not received, but forced herself through that training to where she's like hardcore, there are a lot of things that she seems to be more capable of, but not only other sisters, but the rest of the town seem to really underestimate her.
And I have one thing to go against that too. They only show that for one episode. Never again.
They only show that for one episode. Yeah, that's true. But let's not also forget that unlike her sisters, she was able to actually take down a monster really without having to lift whatever it is they got. So there's that too.
Kirby arm.
Yeah, Kirby.
Arm, whatever you want to call it.
All right, so now,
They're amputees. They, lost their hands.
so well, in any case, point goes to Mike. Now, we're going into round 2. Most underrated JRPG. All right, so Mike.
Before we get officially started, are we talking about in a series or the game itself?
Well, let's go with the game itself.
Okay.
All right, so actually, you know what? No. Let's go with the series because that basically would kind of round out everything. So, most underrated JRPG. Mike, you start off.
Going with Xenogears. If anyone who knows Squaresoft in the mid to late 1990s, they were a powerhouse. But that was only because of the name of Final Fantasy. Every other game they have is underappreciated to the point where it's not even mentioned. Each one of them that's not Final Fantasy only has a cult following compared to even the worst Final Fantasy game.
Chrono Trigger?
I'd say it's a little bit more than a fan following, but the name isn't as big as Final Fantasy. If you compare Xenogears to other games that Square was putting out at the time that wasn't Final Fantasy, such as Legend of Dragoon or Chrono Cross, there's really... Those games get mentioned more than Xenogears does.
Legend of Dragoon is not Squaresoft. That's Sony.
Oh, my bad then.
Legend of Dragoon.
Square Enix didn't make that.
Pressing forward.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to check into that one. All right then.
Xenogears is completely unique in terms of its themes of its story, its presentation, the battle mechanics, and its overall just premise. It is completely unique, and there's nothing else like it, and the fact that it only barely has a cult following nowadays is just sad.
All right. Ryan, you're up.
The series that I believe has gotten really underappreciated, except for like the last two in the series, was the Persona series. Now, sure, people nowadays may have heard of like Persona 4 or Persona 5 and the spin-offs like Persona 4 Arena or Dancing All Night, but prior to that one, not really people even knew about the Persona series. I mean, Persona 3 maybe, but the first two, very little. And even then, Persona itself as a series was a spin-off all its own of the original Shin Megami Tensei series, which saw very little release here in the U.S. like way back in like the late 90s, early 2000s. It was only after Persona 3 that the Atlas decided like, let's bring some of the other series over here, and it still picked up a little steam, but still nothing compared to like the juggernaut that was Final Fantasy or any others like that, like Dragon Quest and whatnot. And again, it was only recently with Persona 4 and 5's like big successes in their fields that Persona started becoming a bit more well known. But aside from that, it'd be hard pressed to find someone who knows a lot about Persona.
All right. Okay, Eric, you're up.
Well, as these two have brought up, all these games have to go against Final Fantasy. But there's one that just got completely overshadowed by it, and that is Wild Arms. The entire Wild Arms series is, we can basically say, Trigun meets Final Fantasy. Each one of them a world of the Wild West expanse. And it never went anywhere, unfortunately. It was for PS1, PlayStation 2, and the most recent one it had was for the PSP, back in 2011. And that's it. It stopped at 2011, unlike the Xenogears.
Xenogears, 1997. That's it.
But it continued to branch off, and we got
No,
the
it
Xeno.
No, it didn't.
It is still part of the series that branched off
Back on
to.
track, back on track.
Guys, okay, yeah.
But as I'm saying, like, as these two have had series that spawned even to today, Wild Arms stopped, 2007. Has not unfortunately gotten past that. Even though it is a series that would be very popular, like any time. Wild West. It's heavily environmental and has a lot of gunplay.
Okay.
Action.
Okay, now we're going to go into the debate battle. So, just like we did in the first round, let the bloodbath begin. Let's go.
Persona tackles a lot of things that the other two JRPGs don't, and basically like a lot of the psychological aspects of the human mind, and
Xenogears does that.
but does it in a more fantasy sense. Persona actually tackles like actual mental problems and things that people have go through on a daily basis.
Much of the inspiration for Xenogears came from psychologists.
As
One of the end-game characters is named after one of the psychologists that much of the work in the game is based on.
Freud.
No.
Who?
It's the main character's mother. Karen... I should have wrote this down.
Dude, you're going on about this and you don't even know the you don't even know the main character's name. Come on, man.
Regardless, Persona and the Shin Megami Tensei series as a whole dealt with the human psychological shadow, as written by Carl Jung back in like the 1800s. Basically dealing with how we have an ID, well, an id, and an ego, and a superego. The three aspects of the human psyche. But there's a part of the psyche that's called the shadow, which is where all of our unrepressed, like negative emotions and stuff, like ball up and just become something else entirely. That's basically us, but not us. And in the Persona series, the main characters deal with this physical representation of their shadow, and basically have to come to terms with accepting that this is a part of them. Only then can they access their persona, and then go on to help other people find their own and stop the shadows from like taking over the people's lives.
While
and
intertwining it with high school drama.
Well, yeah, because where else are you going to find like the best type of psychological trauma to be? High school.
And this
Okay,
has gone on and stretched on even to today. It has survived the biggest and most profitable JRPG series of them all. And Xenogears have spawned off the Xenoblade Chronicles, which is going on today and had a release last year, much like Persona 5. Wild Arms has much for as...
Well, I even said that, like, it wasn't until recently with Persona 4 and Persona 5 that it became more mainstream, but before then...
But it still had a comeback.
in the States. Otherwise, they wouldn't be getting remakes of it brought onto the more current gens.
Well,
The first game was remade onto the PlayStation 2.
Persona 1?
Yeah.
No, it wasn't.
It was remade onto the PlayStation 2, and there's technically 2 Persona 2 games. One that was released in the States and one that wasn't.
No, that's Persona 3. Persona 2 never saw a US release. In fact, neither did Persona 1. The first Persona game that we ever got was Persona 3. And even then, in limited quantities. It wasn't until Persona 4 that it actually kicked it off into being a more acceptable JRPG. As for the Shin Megami Tensei series itself, we saw very little of those until like the early mid-2000s on the DS and 3DS ports of old PlayStation games. But even then, they were very little known.
But again, they came back. The only thing we had for Wild Arms was Ultra Code F, which was a remastering of the first game.
Okay, so when we're talking about Wild Arms, I want to point out something for the original entries into these series. When you take a look at the presentation, Wild Arms, except for like in the battle sections, looks like it should have been on the Super Nintendo. It looks completely like it should have been on the Super Nintendo, and even the Super Nintendo is capable of pulling off limited 3D graphics.
We could say the same about the first Xenogears.
Xenogears was a 3D game represented with 2D sprites.
And those two
No
sprites...
other game on the PlayStation 1 looks like that. As you compare it to Final Fantasy VII, that has 2D pre-rendered backgrounds with 3D sprites, which makes it extremely difficult to tell where you're going. You don't have that problem.
But even in the first game, you
with
had...
Xenogears, you even had full control over the camera, so you can see hidden areas and treasures that you wouldn't be able to
And
see.
Xenogears had a complex button layout that you had to do in battle to make time all of
Yeah,
your
it
distance
has-
so that
it
you
has
have to worry
the
about that
most-
with Persona.
That has the most unique battle system out of every JRPG on the PlayStation 1, since its button layout for combat makes it feel like a fighting game mixed into a JRPG. It even has a second fighting system
And-
dealing with the gears.
and
what other JRPG is there where you get to literally punch a mech?
Front Mission 3.
Wild Arms. Yeah, there's Wild Arms 2. Brad Evans. Only thing he has, Metal Glove. Punches everything. He punches giant robots, he punches giant monsters. I wanna ask one
compared to
thing.
every character.
Guys. Okay. All right. We're done. Now, once again, this was a nice debate. Okay. You all made some very, very valid points, and this one was actually kind of tough. But I'm going to have to give the point to Eric. Eric, I agree with you about most of the stuff that you said when it came to Wild Arms, and to be honest, there hardly hasn't really been too much of Wild Arms with anything else in like.
Died
the
after
past few
2007. It never came back.
Right, exactly. And the thing is that there is still a following for all of them, but you don't really see too much information on Wild Arms. And plus, the thing that we gotta remember though is that it is underrated. Each game is underrated in its own right, but they're still, for the most part, ongoing. There might be, well, at least for Xenosaga, even though I know that they branched off from Xenogear, but from what you mentioned about the battle mechanics, those are still pretty much the same thing.
That's because they're made by the same people. That's like critiquing
Right.
Final Fantasy 1 for playing like Final Fantasy 2. It's the same fucking people.
Yes, it is the same people. But, last I checked, they're actually still trying to bring that back. Nothing has been said about Wild Arms. And Persona, as far as Persona is going right now, Persona's still ongoing, especially with the 5th one that recently dropped, like what, last year?
A few months ago, yeah.
Yeah. It had kind of a slow, and the way things started out as far as the U.S. being introduced to it.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's still an ongoing series that both sides are actually
we
still
didn't see
getting right
any
now.
of the games until Persona 3 came out.
Right. We didn't see it until it came out, but still, we got jack shit for Wild Arms as it stands right now. So
Yeah.
point goes to Mike. All right.
Eric.
So, sorry, Eric. Okay, folks. Now we're really going to go into very, very dangerous territory. Round 3 is the worst set of heroes, and this is going to cover Marvel, DC, and Image. And while I am not, I want to make sure that nobody thinks that I'm being biased or anything, or that I'm taking sides. So I'm taking off my jacket so that I won't be getting any ideas or anybody trying to throw stones at me.
I thought they paid him off.
I don't know if you have the money to pay them all.
No. So no, I'm gonna continue to be the judge and be neutral.
So now he's just
So-
now he's just Mario.
Well, we're
that
not
means that
bashing
Nintendo has
here.
the worst heroes.
Nintendo has nothing to do with this.
Yeah,
Right.
Nintendo has nothing to
So
do.
let's leave that out of it. Anyway, okay, so this time Eric, we're gonna go with you. So you can start off. Let's go.
All right, DC worst heroes, and what do I have to say aside from Batman and Superman? I mean, you have a guy who is completely overpowered to the point of ridiculousness, whereas like what, only 3 things can actually stop him. And we have Batman, the guy who is human, can't go toe to toe against gods with 500 people.
Compelling argument.
I'm just starting out with that.
Okay. It sounds like you have something else up your sleeve.
I'm
But
waiting.
okay. All right then. Brian, you're next.
Well, the X-Men. A bunch of ragtag heroes who go to school and try to compete for, like, equality. Yeah, that's really going to be a really big thing in Trump-era America. Oh, what else do we have? Oh, Spider-Man. Some lanky little shit who spins around on webs and fights in New York City. I mean, like, it's New York City. You think one man like him is going to stop crime in a city that big? Come on. And don't get me started on the Avengers. Oh, God.
All right. Mike, you are up next.
Okay, Image. What can I say? They really put in a big contribution to the comic book crash of the 90s. What characters do they have that people actually know? Spawn, and Spawn, and Spawn. And out of all their titles of the past 25 years, how many have actually lasted? There's Spawn, there's Savage Dragon, and everything else that they've had lasting any period of time has constantly gotten rebooted, and so many of their writers and creators have left.
Wait, Savage Dragon's Image?
Yes. Savage Dragon is Image. The only 3 books that currently even have a large number in terms of their issues is like Spawn and Savage Dragon and Invincible. Everything else keeps on getting rebooted, and everything else that they have is just the most generic crap you could think of.
Okay. And so the arguments have been set. I wish I had brought my helmet because I know how ugly this is going to get. So,
Don't worry, Mario can take a hit on the head.
Let's go.
again, I'm glad that I'm just the judge here. All right. Let's go into the debate battle. Let the bloodbath begin.
Okay, so if DC has the worst heroes, then why are they always the ones that get ripped off?
You don't talk about being ripped off. Marvel's been here for longer, and they've been ripped off the hell back by them especially.
Marvel does more ripping off of DC than anyone rips off Marvel.
It's
Well,
a,
let me see.
it's a mutual jerking off, ripping
Well,
off
let me put
thing.
this out here. Who's the one that has those movies repeatedly back to back? Superman and Batman. We have seen them more in cinema than any other hero here. Spawn got 1 movie, but we see, Street
Wait a
Superman
minute,
movies,
wait a
Man
minute.
of Steel.
Wait a minute. So how many movies has one MCU character been in? Black Widow has been in the majority of them.
That's 'cause she's
More than all of the Superman movies,
She's-
unless you want to add in animation.
she's the most marketable. Everybody else sucks.
She's only marketable because of Scarlett Johansson's ass and that tight leather outfit.
Her assets. Her
And
assets.
yet we
actually-
still see still see more as the most, just like the most
But
boring
guys,
DC hero.
Don't get me
And
started.
that's, we're even going about the Justice League, who has one of the most boring female heroes ever. A guy whose superpower is basically just, hey, I'm Red Sonic, and a guy who is an intergalactic B cop. And he's not even the only intergalactic cop that's on Earth.
Yes, these characters are so bad that they're the most recognizable.
2 words. Deadpool. He sucks.
You mean trash.
Well, obviously.
And I
he's so much trash that he trash talks everybody.
I want to pull this out here.
He's so trash that they couldn't even properly budget the damn movie.
Okay, Thanos shows up. How many people do we have lined up and ready to kick his ass?
Oh, hundreds.
Yes. Okay. Darkseid.
Who actually beats him?
5 fucking people, and one of them is a human.
Justice League is understaffed.
And Darkseid isn't even like he goes beyond multiverse.
Okay, guys, let's just.
He is a god in his own right,
let's just
and
look
we
at it
have
this way.
a bat. We have a god dressed as a bat taking him on. A woman made out of clay.
She's
A guy
made
who's
out of clay.
Yeah, she was made out of clay.
Not currently.
In the original run.
The original
But
run
still,
is not
we have-
even canon.
We have an Amazon.
okay,
we
hold
have these like people who are just
Let
kind
me
of
interrupt you for a
bored
second.
and 5 people.
But see, here's the thing though about Thanos. We have a guy who is literally the power of reality in his hand.
Just trying to impress his girlfriend, which is as terrible as a motive as me trying to jack
At
off
least-
because I ate an apple.
At least we have more clout than Spawn.
Okay, well let's
and
take a look at this.
Spawn. One
With-
movie. Wow.
With Image, you can always be certain that their characters are so terrible that they'll be talked about getting a movie, but when in actuality, they will never get that movie because no one wants to put in the effort to put in.
And we have
And no-
DC
and no- and
who
no-
has
and no-
most overpowered characters.
And no one else wants to put John Leguizamo like
Are
they
you-
did in Spawn's movie.
Overpowered characters. You understand how many Deus Ex Machina characters that Marvel has?
Well, what about the people in DC?
Marvel has Deus Ex Machina characters such as Captain Universe,
Yeah.
which is basically the power of convenience.
Mhm.
Because literally, this is it. Captain Universe finds a host. You are automatically going to be as powerful as you need to in that situation. You will automatically get the power that you need.
So basically,
Except
you're
when
just
you're
now
gonna-
Superman.
Except when you're going to get Thanos in the Infinity Gauntlet, because again, he's holding reality in his hands. He can pretty much go, and the universe is gone.
Yeah, and do you realize how many universe powers there are in Marvel?
And you realize how many universes he can wipe snuff out with a snap of his fingers?
And do you realize just that with
Do
Image,
you realize?
with Image, these characters are so bad, there is a comic named Rose that is coming out right now that is literally trying to be sort of like She-Ra in the fact that it's a fantasy world with the main character being a
I want to
magical
point
female.
some.
However, did you want that? A main character named Rose, who is magical, but she only gets her cat powers from giant cats. But the way this cat is spelled is Khat. But they're cats, but they're magical cats. But they want to pass it off that it's a fucking cat.
Do you remember
The
what
only
the
image-
old? Do you remember what the old weakness for Green Lantern was?
What?
Yellow.
Which
No.
was always explained.
No, the original Green Lantern was wood.
That's still just that's ridiculous.
Which
like,
was
hey, I
also
can make any
explained.
still I want.
That is
But
ridiculous.
yes, hey, Green Arrow. You killed Green Lantern with a wooden
Still-
arrow. And speaking of Green Arrow, another fucking human, $1 billion, and yet can help Batman take out Superman.
Still not as ridiculous as a man who spends multiple millions of dollars making an iron suit that ends up getting shredded up anyways. Not the fact that he put his first one in a cave with a box of scraps!
That just proves like how smart
And also,
he is.
I just
and
want
also
to
that
say,
kind of
just
like
to say one more
we
thing.
are done. We are done. Okay. Oh.
I still see some blood over there.
Yeah. This was.
Just like you're wearing the red shirt.
Does that brain matter?
I almost went up under the table because it got so bad.
And my leg's gone. I'm bleeding profusely on the table.
I'm fine, just missing with my big toe.
Okay. All right. Well,
I lost a vertebrae.
I'll tell you what.
My drawer was that short.
You may have lost a vertebrae, but I will say this: you at least gained a point. You at least gained a point. I'll give you that. Yeah. So I have to agree with you because Image Comics, some of their stuff is good, but some of their
Most of it sucks.
Me, I'm partial to Shadowhawk, but when you have like rip-offs of Spider-Man, not to mention the fact that there's this one particular villain who apparently has the power of the time of the month. It's just
Calendar Man.
no.
He's talking about menstruation.
I'm talking about it. Her name is actually Heavy Flow,
Yes.
which I think, if you think about
I
it,
think depending.
might have been spoofed in that episode of Family Guy. Even the colors are actually right.
I'm sorry, I just had an aneurysm for hearing that.
Yeah, I'm
You
pretty.
see what I mean?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure if we did our research and found that out, we would have just been like, nope, we're not competing with that. We can't compete with a company that made a villain that's based on
PMS.
menstruation.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
I'm pretty sure, like, if we both did a research, we would have been like, nope, we can't. Like, no, we're done. Like I can throw much shit to Batman and Superman and like the bullshit that DC does, but I'm sorry, they don't have administration.
Oh, no, wait. What about that one superhero who was powered by cocaine? What was his name? Snowflame.
Oh.
Yeah, the super
yeah.
villain.
No, he's a superhero.
No, he's a super villain.
Well, he's been a superhero for a past while now.
No, he only
Well-
had one appearance and he died.
Really?
Yes.
They must have brought him back.
back to-
because
back
he's a
to-
hero.
They never brought him back.
Back to the core thing.
There must be
Mike.
some knockoff then.
Hey,
Okay,
fuck you,
cut.
Mike, for picking it.
Real quick. Action.
All right, so we are back, and the dust has settled from that last round. Whew. Anyway, so we got Mike with 2 points, we got Eric with 1 point, and we got Brian with none. Don't worry, you'll get there, I'm sure. Now, we are now going into round 4, which is going to be best nostalgic cartoon. Maybe this one will be a little less bloody.
There won't be any menstruation in this one. At least I hope not.
I hope not either. Okay, now, Mike, you will go first.
Hey. 4 words. Batman the Animated Series. Started really early in the 90s and is still considered to be the best cartoon show that DC has ever put out. Even so much so to where the Marvel shows have tried to copy its formula and just haven't performed as well. This show brought so many people into the character of Batman and the incredibly interesting characters that inhabit the Batman line of comics. It has spawned multiple spin-offs, such as Batman Beyond, Superman the Animated Series, Justice League and Justice League Unlimited, which then, of course, those got their own spin-offs in the forms of comic books, their own movies, and the fan love and the love of fans from across the world.
All right. Ryan, you're up.
1 word. Transformers. Never has a series lasted as long as this, unless you go back even further, but in terms of just sheer staying power, Transformers has been there since the beginning. Even if it started as just a simple toy line, and, you know, cartoons back then were like more or less exaggerated commercials for their toys. Even so, the story that this series has woven has stood the test of time, even to this day, and not even a schlock like Michael Bay can tarnish that. Because, as we all know, everyone, somewhere in the world, will find out about Transformers and then be exposed to the magnificence that what it is. 2 factions of robotic life forms on a planet far from Earth fighting to control it. One side is the heroic Autobot led by Optimus Prime. The other are the maniacal and evil Decepticons led by Megatron. They come to Earth to continue their battle, and then the humans get roped into it. Needless to say, it's a series that resonates well with anyone, and I foresee it never ending at all.
Okay, Eric, you're next.
Boy, do I feel like the black sheep today. Because we have a drama cartoon series, and here I have a comedy. Ed, Ed, and fucking Eddie. One of the greatest shows of my childhood, because it was just balls to the wall crazy. Just 3 kids trying to get 25 cents for a jawbreaker, scamming all these kids in the most insane ways ever, to the point that it breaks all logic. And just I'm gonna end it there because I'm not going to gush yet.
Sounds like you got something else. So, all right. You all know the drill. We're going to do the debate battle. Let the bloodbath begin.
Okay, I'm just gonna say this about Ed, and Eddie right now. How many times have Ed, and Eddie's schemes actually gotten them to produce said 25 cents to get to said jawbreaker?
But you know the nature of the series. You know that once that happens, it's done. So of course they can't do
Yes,
anything.
but every episode basically had the same running jokes. Oh, Ed is dumb. Double D can't socialize. Eddie is a dick.
And what's the level for that? I mean, come on! The shit you see Ed do is just insane. I mean, straight up lifting concrete off the ground, making an entire towering elevator to the moon. You watch this. You watch this for the comedy. You watch this for the insanity of the show.
You say that it's
You
comedy.
won't talk about
You say that
insanity.
you're talking about.
They
That
made
is
an
the
entire
best-
working city
You're
out of
saying,
cardboard
that
boxes.
you're saying that it's the best comedy, but comedy is subjective.
You're talking about,
You're
about
talking
insanity.
about one thing that you're not gonna
A
that you
robot.
find funny, someone else just won't, and they'll just roll their eyes at it.
A robot 30 feet tall transforming and shifting into becoming something no bigger than this water bottle. How? It's never explained. It's just, oh, they can do that. They're
We have a term for that. Sci-fi.
Exactly. But it's never given an actual explanation of how they can mass shift. It's just, oh, they can do that. And then you've got those that are like robots that are like no bigger than this cabinet right here, and they suddenly become a gigantic like jet fighter. Or the triple changers that can be, or like one triple changer, particular, who goes from a jet fighter to a fucking carrier ship that a jet would land on. Mass shifting? That's bullshitting.
Okay, about Transformers. Back when it was first being made, it was targeted for children, right?
Well, yeah.
Okay, so it's targeted for children. It's getting toy lines, but Batman the Animated Series was practically targeted for any and all audiences, and got a hell of a toy line. Every episode was practically spawning its own toy line.
And yet you don't see any toys from Ed, and Eddie. Was never a commercial.
Well, that's because it's not that great.
Yeah.
Oh, it's better than you think it is, man.
But Batman the Animated Series gave both children and adults something that they could bond over together just from watching and enjoying a wonderfully crafted story.
Same
From
thing.
Batman the Animated Series, we got Mark Hamill as the Joker, easily the best voice work for Joker.
Even I can admit that, like, the Batman animated series was a good show because even they had Kevin Conroy as Batman, who's like the most definitive voice of Batman
Ever.
to date.
And the voice performances given for each of those characters, for Harley, for Two-Face,
And I can
for
say-
Poison Ivy,
And I can say the same.
every
for,
actor that comes after them has tried to emulate that because it is so good.
and I can say the same for Transformers because a lot of the actors who were in Batman animated series got their start earlier, and some of them were even in Transformers. And of course, don't even forget like the.
Yes, but the most recognizable voice in that is really only Optimus.
Uh,
Other than that, if you really
No. Frank Welker would be the most recognized voice in that series because not only was he Megatron, he was Soundwave, he was Rumble, he was Frenzy, he was Astro. He was a lot of people.
if you know
Not-
who's working on the credits. If you
not
just go
just
off of
that.
what you hear, Optimus has had a consistent tone of voice throughout
That is
every
true. Yeah,
series.
Optimus is like one of the most well-known, like recognized voice of Transformers, but he's not the only one.
Let me throw this in here to get away from the actors of these series.
The actors contribute just as much as anything else.
Oh yes, I know.
Aside from your
But let's
highly
see-
subjective writing.
But let's see here.
And
You have a show about Batman, a superhero who's going around beating up criminals. You have Transformers, a show about robots transforming and beating each other up. What's the kid gonna do with that? I mean, he's going to imagine that. You have Ed, Ed, Eddie, a show where
You're trying to say that kids can't imagine these two, but practically every kid growing up in the 90s watched all three of these at one point and have more nostalgia.
But I'm pretty
and then
sure
more
Ed, Ed, and
familiar
Eddie
with-
were closer to what a kid's life was like.
Yeah,
Because
for a kid's life, but when you go back as an adult,
Yes, because
most of them don't want to watch Ed and Eddie. They're going to go, I want to watch quality, I'm going to watch Batman the Animated Series.
Or they watch Transformers. Besides, what kid in the late 90s, early 2000s played with a piece of wood with a face on it?
I'm pretty sure a lot of kids did. I mean, a lot of
That was the age
This-
of the Game Boy.
This was the age of the Game Boy and the cell phone. They would not be messing around with no little piece of wood that could easily break or snap in half.
I'm pretty sure they would. I mean, like that's just like one character. I mean, you had these three guys who just with the power of basically imagination are able to make all
And
this.
we are done.
Batman
Darn
animated
done.
series made Harley Quinn.
Oh, okay, Mike. All right,
Transformers
all right.
has made a lot more better stuff than that.
Okay, guys. Okay, we're done. All right. Now, this was definitely a tough one. A lot tougher than I actually thought it was going to be. But I am very sorry, but I'm going to have to give this point to Mike. And the reason for that is because that he really hit home with a lot of the stuff that he mentioned with Batman the Animated Series. It has opened up a whole lot of doors for a lot of other animations, a lot of other creations down the line. And me being all into art, that's one of the things that I especially look. I look at everything that y'all mentioned. I look at that as art, but I just look at Batman the Animated Series as one of the greatest things created, as far as not just nostalgia, but just helping open doors to everything else. Brian, you came in a close second with everything that you said about Transformers, especially with the voice actors, because a couple of them that I was hoping you would also mention would be Scatman Crothers, who played Jazz. And if you really want to go and talk into nostalgic type stuff, he's the guy that also voiced Hong Kong Phooey, if you remember that cartoon. There's also the voice of the guy who did the Spider-Man cartoons from the 80s.
Yeah, he was
He
Bumblebee.
was in there. Yeah, he was Bumblebee. And let's also not forget the late, great Casey Kasem.
Oh, yes.
He was in there too. But but yeah, I got to give the point to Mike. So there you go right there. That's all 4 rounds. And okay, now we're going into the lightning round. This is going to be between Mike and Eric. Mike has 3 points and Eric has 1 point. And so now I'm just going to dump out some random subject, and you're going to debate on each one. So, the first one is going to be Ant-Man versus the Atom.
The Atom.
Go.
Okay, the Atom is the original. Every idea that Ant-Man uses came from the Atom, aside from just using the bullshit explanation of pseudoscience of PEM particles. Every adventure that Ant-Man has been on, the Atom has been on. And there's been 4 different Ant-Mans. There's only been 2 Atoms. And one of the Ant-Mans is a total dick.
which one needs to actually make a shrieking themed movie and actually be successful with it? I don't.
Depends on how you consider successful, considering that movie felt very borderline pointless and was just there to validate his excuse for being in Captain America: Civil War.
No, we don't have an Atom movie. We didn't see that after Ant-Man took off.
Why?
And he's getting a sequel.
Okay, and it's going to be a buddy cop movie. The Atom is one of the main characters in DC's Legends of Tomorrow and is arguably the best character. He brings a certain level of levity to it that every other character on that show is very serious.
Okay, and we are good. Now then, all right, here's the next one.
You gotta give out.
Okay, you're right.
The first one.
All right, so first point on that one I'm going to give to Mike. Now, the next one,
Movies don't mean everything.
the next one is going to be Mega Man X and Mega Man Legends.
Mega Man X.
All right, go.
Okay, Mega Man X revitalized the series.
I don't know Mega Man. Like, I can't compete in this one. I have to give it to you. I can't compete. I don't know Mega Man.
Okay, that was quick.
I only know Mega Man because of 2 games.
Okay, go. Okay, one goes to Mike. All right.
I think that's it.
Well, okay. All right. All right. Well, the winner of this is Mike. Congratulations. And wow. And now you will be going to the championship in the next episode.
Oh, thank you.
All right. All right. Well, this was definitely fun, and I hope that everybody here enjoyed it, and everybody stayed quiet for some reason. Okay, but other than that, well done, everybody. Well done.
It was very fun.